Since you react to what you think is happening instead of what's actually happening, what you're doing there is reacting to the meaning that you assign or associate to something. For instance, if I say, math test, and you start flipping out, you're not flipping out about the math test. You're flipping out about all of the stuff you've associated to the math test. This is what John was doing in the elevator. He wasn't reacting to the situation, he was reacting to the meaning he put on the situation. And so, if you want to get different results in the same situation, it's really important to know how to change the meanings that you give that situation. And that is called reframing.
Frames are for pictures. I flip out about math tests all the time because I hate math, so what can I do? It's stupid to think that math tests are anything but torture.
Some people think that certain situations are either good or bad or whatever, that the meaning is obvious, and that to think of it in a different way is just being stupid or unrealistic. There's an old Chinese story about a villager who had a horse, and this made him one of the wealthier people in the village because most people didn't have horses. And one day, his horse up and ran away. And the other villagers were consoling him, saying, "Oh, that's too bad, such horrible fortune." And his only reply was, "Maybe." And they thought he was kind of crazy because dude just lost his horse. Now, a couple days later, they hear all this commotion out in the field, and they see his horse and 3 other wild horses that the horse found and brought back to the farm. And now the guy's got 4 horses. And the villagers are like, "Whoa, dude, this is awesome, man. You are so lucky." And the farmer's reply was, "Maybe." They think he's crazy because dude's now got 4 horses. So, a few days later, his son is trying to break one of the wild horses so that he can ride it. And when he's doing so, the horse throws him off and dude breaks his leg. The villagers are like, "Oh, it's so unfortunate. Your son needs to help you with the farm and now he can't help you because he's got a broken leg and this is so horrible." And the farmer's reply was, "Maybe." Of course, they think this guy's crazy. However, a few days later, the Chinese army comes sweeping through the village looking for young men to bring into the army to go off and fight a war. And so they're taking all the young men out of the village except for the poor dude with the broken leg. Well, they can't take him. And so the villagers are like, "Oh, how fortunate, how fortunate." And the farmer's reply was, "Maybe." Now, you see where this is going? There's no automatic reaction to something. You're always going to be interpreting it in some way. It's just the way it is. So, if you're going to be interpreting it, then learning how to shift that interpretation to something that's more useful is what we're talking about here. Now, remember, I didn't say anything about saying that the situation was just exactly perfect or I love math tests or anything like that. It's not like that. One of the classic stories of reframing was with Tom Watson, the guy who started IBM. And as the story goes, one business deal with this new guy who was working for him went south really badly. And the guy lost a deal worth $9 million. Now, of course, He thinks he's going to get fired because, well, what are you going to do when you blow a $9 million deal? So he goes to Tom Watson and he says, "Sir, I know you're going to fire me, but..." And Tom stops and he goes, "Fire you? What are you, crazy? I just spent millions training you." Now that's reframing. Because Watson took a horrible situation. He didn't say it was good, but what he did was look for the useful element and focus on that. And that's all we're talking about here. When it comes to state, the more you can focus on the useful part of something, the more that allows you to access the upper ends of the emotional dial. You may hate the math test, but if you associate that math test as another example of proving that you get the job done and you can do well, well, guess what? Reframe it. Say, all right, stupid math test, whatever, I'm going to ace it. And then when you shift your focus to the idea of acing it, it doesn't matter whether it's a math test or not. It doesn't matter that you don't like the actual thing you're doing. What you do like is the feeling you get out of doing well on it. And that's what state is all about, is working from parts of your emotional dial that allow you to dig deep and get the most out of yourself.